So we've done a couple videos around creating training programs for different employees. It's just a very consistent pain point across a lot of the FIs that we work with in not only creating the training programs, but also going about executing those programs. We actually have had a few ideas from folks on trying to figure out ways to actually gamify the onboarding process. And this is a situation and a prompt that actually came up very recently when we were on site with one of our clients. And I want to give that context into Hapax and into the prompt here. So let's say, our bank has seen some turnover for our frontline staff over the past year, and many of them have cited a lack of engaging and thorough onboarding process. So what are some ideas to gamify the onboarding process for tellers when we hire them? Specifically, how can we make sure that they're engaged and interested over the first 30 to 60 days of starting the new role? So I think this is a good prompt. It gives a lot of context. We always say, be as specific as possible in these prompts. We'll let that generate. It's going to be a more strategic prompt by nature, more about creativity. And I've mentioned this in a couple of the other videos, but Hapax having a really fundamental understanding of your organization, the layout of your organization, the way that you operate. We always say, like, your tribal knowledge that makes you different is really what makes you powerful. And so we want you to be able to build on top of some of those things that differentiate you and be able to retain a lot of the talent that you spend a ton of time training. So here's Hapax's response. We'll let it generate, and then we'll roll to the top. So to address this issue of turnover among the frontline staff, particularly tellers, and create an engaging onboarding process, I'd like to suggest several ideas to gamify the experience. These ideas are designed to increase engagement and interest over the first 30 to 60 days of starting the new role. I want to call out, because of the specificity of that prompt and talking about like those first 30 to 60 days and keeping them engaged in that time period, that's going to be taken into account in the output. That could be a follow-up, but we always say, like, in the first pass, give it as much as you can, and then, obviously work through it from there. So here's a few ideas, right? Interactive modules, gamified challenges, mentorship program, recognition and rewards, real world scenarios, feedback and assessment, socialization activities, progress tracking, scenario-based training, and then, celebrating milestones. So there's a lot here, and obviously it's going to go into detail about those 30 to 60 days. But I think a good follow-up to this would be around scenario-based training, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to have somebody that walks out onto the front line and has never, role played a particular situation. Before they know it, they've got a customer, standing in front of them asking questions and maybe getting a little heated. Hopefully that's not the case. But let's expand on scenario-based training. Provide a few examples that we can use for tellers. I'm not going to be very specific because I am doing this live and I'm typing, and I don't want to write out a long response and turn this video into a 5-minute video, even though I may already be on that roll. Looks like we're at 321 and counting. But the nice thing about these chains of thoughts and these streams of consciousness, as I like to say, is that Hapax is going to use the previous conversation to maybe drill further down into things that you're trying to get to. So starting kind of more general in nature is always okay. Use this chat to really to dive deeper as you want. So let it generate a few of these examples. I'll scroll to the top and I'll just roll through the first one very quickly. Cash handling, I think these are good. It's obviously going to do a ton here. And then you could roll with whichever one you wanted: identity verification, loan credit application. Okay, great. So we'll roll back to the top here. And let's look at this customer complaint. So the scenario: customer comes in upset about a recent fee charged to their account. They claim they were not aware of the fee and they want it waived. The goal is the teller needs to listen, empathize with their situation, provide a solution, and then here are some of those training points. Now, obviously, you can expand on these in more detail. I do want to call out, because of this understanding of the world of community banking and community banking being a very relationship-driven business, the fact that it's calling out to empathize with their situation, knowing that it's a delicate situation, I think is really powerful. And it speaks to the fact that this is for community banks. This is built to really, understand the nuances of those relationships and those interpersonal relationships that happen in this world. So thank you. I hope it was helpful.